who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively, it's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds. And now I look at him and I just go, how did I not see this? This is the backstory. Comes to set, reviews the dailies, or the raw footage, whatever that was shot today, reviews the script, and then he goes into his trailer, allegedly. Don't gag order or sue me, Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I don't want to be involved in all the drama. I'm just telling my audience what I was told. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument, okay? Now, what was at the root of that argument? We don't know, but we can assume it had something to do with what he saw in these dailies, what he read in the script. Who even knows what led him to even visit on this day? And the person says that from that day forward, he started involving himself, that he basically became a chaperone for her on set. He was there basically every day, involved in the projects, wanting to rewrite lines, and suddenly Ryan Reynolds was trying to wrangle this project from Justin. Please take my advice. Narrator, she did not listen. She did not take my advice at all. I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint.
Okay, Justin Baldoni is bringing the receipts. And what I mean by that is Justin Baldoni just dropped 10 minutes of unedited footage from It Ends With Us. And this footage seemingly directly negates some of Blake Lively's claims in her harassment lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. At the beginning of the footage, we see Blake and Justin essentially talking about logistics. They're talking about lighting, finding their marks, whether or not they should be talking or just staring.
The moment rumors emerged that It Ends With Us was plagued by behind-the-scenes turmoil, fans and onlookers wondered who could possibly be at the center of such chaos. Some blamed Blake Lively for clashing with Justin Baldoni, while others pointed fingers at Baldoni himself. Yet according to new leaks and allegations, the true instigator might be none other than Ryan Reynolds. Whispers have morphed into full-blown accusations, swirling around arguments caught by production assistants, contradictory footage that leaves more questions than answers, and revelations that point to calculated PR warfare. If even half of these stories are true, we're looking at a scandal that goes far beyond a simple personality clash, threatening to engulf Hollywood's brightest stars in an all-out legal inferno. In the chapters that follow, the story gets twistier by the second. Secretly recorded set footage, shocking lawsuits, and explosive public statements have fueled a narrative no one saw coming. Blake Lively's civil complaint, Justin Baldoni's countersuit, and now Candace Owens throwing allegations at Ryan Reynolds have ignited a media firestorm. Many insist everything is a misunderstanding, but others believe it's a meticulously orchestrated campaign to sabotage reputations.
Show of hands if you stayed up until midnight waiting for Blake Lively to drop this freaking amendment. Okay, am I the only person with their hands raised? Are you guys just here to plagiarize because you know I went through every line like a complete psycho? That's perfectly fine. I just want you guys to know rather, that if you're here because you think there's some bombshell in here, as her lawyers were alluding to, oh, wait until everybody sees everything, you're gonna be sorely disappointed, because if clickbait was an amendment, this is it. Okay, I cannot believe it. And there's so much more going on here. Now we really see the target of everything, I think, really the linchpin for her lawsuit, the person that she went after. We have to discuss Isabella.
With every new detail, it's becoming clear that this might be less about personal drama and more about high-stakes power plays in the entertainment industry. Keep watching closely. More than a few careers could be on the line, and the deeper we dig, the more suspicious each player becomes. By the end, you might be left wondering whether the real story is even about It Ends With Us at all, or if this film's chaotic production is just one piece of a broader, more complex battle among Hollywood's elite. When initial reports of tension on the It Ends With Us set leaked, few people expected the ensuing saga to blow up. Conventional gossip suggested that Blake Lively found Justin Baldoni's directorial style incompatible with her vision, or that Baldoni was imposing last-minute script changes. Rumors multiplied, describing frantic rewrites and off-the-record disputes, yet no one had any concrete proof of wrongdoing. Then, a handful of production assistants stepped forward with an explosive claim. Ryan Reynolds, who wasn't even directly involved in the project at first, had arrived on set one day to screen raw footage. What he saw or thought he saw reportedly triggered an outburst. In hushed voices, staffers recounted an intense standoff between Reynolds and Lively inside a private trailer.
Justin Baldoni is now involving Taylor Swift in his lawsuit against Blake Lively. So Justin Baldoni is suing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist for over $400 million for all the It Ends With Us drama. Now he's name dropping Taylor Swift, Blake's bestie, in the mix. Thankfully, Taylor Swift is not being sued, but she's mentioned in his 179-page paper complaint, and he's alleging that Taylor's fame was used to pressure him during production. And it really all stems from this penthouse situation where Blake and Ryan live. Apparently there was a meeting there with all of them, and Taylor Swift was actually present, and Blake ended up rewriting one of the scenes. And even after the meeting was over, Baldoni texted Blake this, saying, "I gotta put my glasses on for this one, the font is too small. Also was working on the rooftop scene today. Really love what you did. Makes it so much more fun and interesting, and I would have felt the same way without Ryan and Taylor."
Allegedly, they argued over how the scenes were shot, the lines Blake was delivering, and whether the film's direction still aligned with her established public image. This was no trivial disagreement. According to the same sources, the tone was downright hostile, culminating in Reynolds stomping off and demanding changes be made. Only days later did the bigger drama start to swirl. Whispers suggested Reynolds had begun meddling in production matters, effectively inserting himself as an uncredited chaperone. Some crew members claimed he lingered after each day's shoot, went over the footage, and even recommended rewrites to reflect what he believed Blake wanted. Others in the industry found this story difficult to believe. Ryan Reynolds is known for his witty humor, philanthropic efforts, and a carefully maintained good guy persona. Still, as the rumors gained traction, fans wondered whether they'd been missing a crucial piece of the puzzle all along. After all, the presence of big Hollywood egos often leads to friction. But was that the entire explanation, or was something more methodical at play? But the real game changer, one insider noted, was when the lawyers got involved. That single shift transformed backstage gripes into front-page headlines.
This was a sinister PR move. Blake Lively then moved 11 days later to file a lawsuit. So now she has filed a lawsuit, and I don't think she ever wanted to do this. I think she genuinely wanted this to be a PR move, and she wanted to leak it to the New York Times. She thought the public would take her side with no questions asked, and instead the public is saying, no, we have a few questions here. And Justin Baldoni is going all the way to the wall on this. His lawyer is already giving interviews explaining just how nasty her team has played this. The lawyer's name is Brian Friedman. He stopped by the Megyn Kelly show, and here's some of the things that he had to say. First, he says there used to never be a sexual claim. There never was a sexual claim until she went to that civil rights office. Take a listen.
There was actually no allegation of sexual harassment until the lawsuit.
If Ryan's rumored meltdown had been contained among the cast and crew, the public might never have found out. Instead, it became the opening act in a storm of leaks, lawsuits, and pointed public statements. The first official red flag appeared when Blake Lively filed a formal harassment complaint against Justin Baldoni, sending tremors through Hollywood. People were stunned. On the surface, Lively and Baldoni had seemed like a promising actor-director duo. Yet her legal team insisted that behind the scenes, Baldoni had acted in ways that crossed professional boundaries. According to the allegations, there were uncomfortable moments during filming, culminating in Blake feeling unsafe and singled out. Baldoni fired back within days, accusing Lively, and by extension Ryan Reynolds, of orchestrating a deliberate smear campaign. His countersuit declared that Lively's complaint was riddled with inconsistencies and bolstered by rumors intentionally planted in the media. One point of contention was a series of HR complaints that surfaced in major tabloids like TMZ and the Daily Mail. Baldoni's side argued that these documents appeared precisely when Lively needed them too, as if an internal file had been handed off for sensational headlines. Tension escalated further when Baldoni disclosed that he possessed raw, unedited footage that contradicted Lively's claims. In these clips, they appeared to be collaborating normally, at times even playfully, during scenes that were later cited as inappropriate. This contradictory evidence fueled public debate. Was Lively's complaint fabricated, or was Baldoni cherry-picking the most benign moments to disguise deeper issues? Just as people thought they'd seen enough legal fireworks, New revelations indicated that the drama might center more on Ryan Reynolds than anyone previously suspected.
Followed by an attempted PR takedown of her to cover his own ass from people finding out what he did to her. In an article titled, "We Can Bury Anyone," Blake Lively heroically shared her story, and the world was on her side because it looked like she was just trying to take down a predator in Hollywood. So Justin Baldoni and his ace lawyer launched an all-cylinder-fire attack to clear his name, and he started by suing the New York Times, saying that article was just published because it was paid for by Ryan Reynolds, and it was a multi-layered scheme planned out by Blake and Ryan to take down Justin. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that the mainstream media will lie on behalf of their powerful friends or anyone who pays them off to say certain things.
Allegedly, he had confronted Baldoni not just on set, but also by lobbying to have him dropped by his talent agency. If true, it raised serious questions about how far an influential Hollywood star might go to protect a spouse's interests. Few voices stir controversy, like Candace Owens, typically recognized for her political commentary. Owens took an abrupt detour into Hollywood gossip when she dropped startling allegations on social media. According to her, Ryan Reynolds was the hidden puppet master, the real reason the set had spiraled into chaos. She claimed an anonymous source told her that Reynolds reviewed daily footage, found certain scenes unacceptable, and then pressured Lively to confront Baldoni about rewriting them. Tensions soared, culminating in loud arguments behind closed doors that even the most tight-lipped production assistants found impossible to ignore. Owens also suggested that this saga was more than petty squabbling. In her version of events, Ryan may have tried to sabotage Baldoni's standing in Hollywood, possibly urging executives to distance themselves from the director. She even floated the notion that Reynolds had poured money into influencing mainstream media coverage, accusations that remain unverified, but triggered a wave of speculation online. While Owens' claims set the internet ablaze, viewers were divided over her credibility. Some believed her connections in conservative and celebrity circles could yield genuine insider intel. Others accused her of stirring the pot for attention. Regardless, her remarks added a fresh chapter to an already layered feud. Now, the question wasn't just whether Lively or Baldoni was at fault, but whether Ryan Reynolds was quietly engineering a much larger media takedown. But if that's true, skeptics wondered, why would an A-lister risk everything just to manipulate a single film production? The simplest answer, at least according to Owens, brand protection. For years, Reynolds and Lively have meticulously cultivated their public image as a supportive, comedic power couple. It Ends With Us is an anticipated adaptation with the potential for massive box office success. If the final product didn't meet Lively's standards, or if she felt overshadowed, perhaps they believed stepping in was the only way to preserve her reputation. Regardless of motives, the aftermath proved catastrophic. No Hollywood controversy would be complete without an onslaught of PR moves. Almost overnight, negative tidbits about Justin Baldoni started circulating, painting him as a director who ignored on-set boundaries and used questionable methods to coax performances out of his actors. On the flip side, stories favoring Baldoni emerged, touting him as a champion of women's rights, someone who couldn't possibly exhibit the behavior outlined in Lively's complaint. Both narratives looked too polished to be entirely spontaneous, prompting fans and media watchers to suspect PR firms were in a tug-of-war behind the scenes. The most damning stories about Baldoni appeared in tabloids within hours of Lively's formal complaint hitting the public record. Certain outlets received copies of internal HR documents so heavily redacted that they bordered on unreadable, yet strong insinuations lingered, unprofessional conduct, uncomfortable remarks, and references to the lead actress's body. Baldoni's lawyers retaliated by claiming the documents were incomplete, lacked context, and were cherry-picked to make him look as guilty as possible. Industry insiders whispered that Reynolds had called in favors at top gossip sites, ensuring coverage that skewed in Lively's favor. Whether that was true or not, the swirl of sensational headlines definitely fanned the flames, piling public pressure on Baldoni to prove his innocence. As #TeamBlake and #TeamBaldoni hashtags trended, neutral voices were drowned out. The real question became whether viewers cared more about justice or about the spectacle itself. By the time marketing agencies and crisis managers stepped into the ring, the fiasco had grown beyond the film. it wasn't just about filming disagreements or even harassment allegations anymore. It had become a test of who could shape public perception more effectively. Leaked DMs, subtle references in interviews, and well-timed statements from anonymous sources all seemed part of a larger media chessboard. But they weren't done pulling in Hollywood heavyweights just yet. As if the scandal needed more star power, Taylor Swift's name suddenly appeared in Baldoni's legal filings. Reports indicated that Swift, close friends with Lively, had been present during at least one high-profile meeting about rewriting a major rooftop scene. Baldoni claimed that a script revision pushed by Lively, reportedly co-signed by Swift, fundamentally altered the tone of a pivotal moment in the film. He contended that while he appreciated the creative input, it felt like a power move, especially when sources alleged Ryan Reynolds used Swift's stardom as leverage. Simultaneously, a separate firestorm erupted when Ryan Reynolds took the stage for Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary special. During a monologue, he cracked a joke that appeared to reference the lawsuit with Lively and Baldoni, implying that working together on set wasn't all sunshine and roses. The comedic dig got big laughs from the in-studio audience, but set off alarm bells among fans who read it as a direct jab at Baldoni's predicament. An SNL cue card handler later stoked more controversy by alleging that Reynolds personally requested the reference, possibly to undermine Baldoni's narrative. Reynolds' publicist promptly denied it, saying the joke was coincidental. But Candace Owens, never missing an opportunity, claimed otherwise. She argued that the combination of Lively's formal complaint and Reynolds' comedic muscle on SNL was part of a well-orchestrated strategy to degrade Baldoni's credibility. According to Owens, this was less about jokes and more about sending a public message. The involvement of Swift and Reynolds' SNL cameo proved one thing. Even the biggest Hollywood figures weren't immune from getting dragged into the vortex. At this point, the entire industry was paying attention, debating the moral and legal implications of leveraging star power to settle personal scores. Not long after Lively's complaint drew headlines, a 10-minute clip of raw footage from It Ends With Us flooded social media. At first glance, it showed ordinary behind-the-scenes chatter. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni discussing lighting, camera angles, and how best to frame an emotional scene. In one snippet, the pair slow danced while bantering about body makeup and someone's cologne. For supporters of Justin Baldoni, this reel looked like a silver bullet. If Lively was so uncomfortable, why did she appear at ease, even playful, during these interactions? Baldoni's legal team pounced, claiming the footage disproved any notion of harassment. They said it showed two professionals engaging in creative experimentation, which is common when refining scenes for emotional depth. Lively's camp, however, insisted the clip actually supported her lawsuit. The short snippet, they argued, captured only a friendly moment that wasn't central to her actual allegations. They claimed her real discomfort stemmed from other slow dance scenes where Baldoni got too close. Lively's lawyers emphasized that any lack of visible tension in one clip did not negate alleged misconduct in another. They also pointed out that harassment can be subtle, with unwelcome behavior happening off camera rather than in an obviously staged moment. Fans flocked to social media in droves, each picking apart tiny gestures. Was Lively truly enjoying herself, or was she masked in professional politeness? Did Baldoni's grin look too familiar, or was it normal on a film set? Conspiracy theories bred in comment sections, with some positing that the entire lawsuit was a deflection from a bigger scandal. Others believed the footage was carefully curated to muddy the water. Either way, the contradiction stoked more questions than it answered. And just when we thought the controversies couldn't get any bigger, the tension reached a boiling point when Justin Baldoni filed a colossal lawsuit for over $400 million against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and unnamed co-conspirators. To some, the figures sounded absurd, but Baldoni's legal documents cited potential lost revenue, severe reputational damage, and possible blacklisting in certain circles, claims that, if proven, could translate into staggering financial losses. A key part of Baldoni's argument revolved around alleged sabotage. According to him, Lively and Reynolds orchestrated a smear campaign so potent that it could derail his entire career. He also insisted that the couple abused their influence with top media outlets, spinning a narrative that painted him in the worst possible light. The lawsuit referenced internal Hollywood politics, with suggestions that Reynolds attempted to have Baldoni dropped by their mutual talent agency, WME, behind the scenes. While the agency itself remained tight-lipped, rumors circulated that this internal strife caused serious rifts at executive levels. Adding fuel to the fire, Baldoni launched a website, thelawinfo.com, as a public repository for evidence. It featured never-before-seen text messages and emails that, in Baldoni's view, would lay bare the manipulations at play. Some messages allegedly showed Lively revising a major rooftop scene after a meeting in Reynolds' penthouse. Others hinted at calls between Reynolds and top media contacts, though the content was partially redacted. Fans took screenshots before certain items vanished, wondering if the site had come under legal threat. For many watching from the sidelines, the question was how the feud had escalated so dramatically. With lawsuits pending, new gossip emerging by the hour, and alliances shifting behind closed doors, the saga is far from over. What happens next could redefine the careers of everyone involved and might even alter the public's trust in big-name celebrities. Stay vigilant, because in a place where reputations are currency and media narratives can be weaponized, anything can happen. And no matter whose side you take, the question that lingers is, who's really pulling the strings in this Hollywood showdown? Only time, and perhaps a few unsealed court documents, will tell.